Hi, and welcome to Discovering Dataflex with me, Johan Brodfeldt. In this video, we're going to take a look at image management. And if you want to upload an image, you want to save it somewhere, how to do that, and some special features for security when you save the images in a library that you cannot access from the web directly. And I'm also going to show you some tricks with CSS, just to some simple things to make sure your images look good in the application. So let's get to it. So we had our meeting with our customer, and they wanted an image on the screen. So they want to see what the product looks like. If we have, for example, ice cream, they want a picture of the ice cream so I can see what it looks like. Or if I have a chair down in the basement, then I want to have a photo of the chair so I can, yeah, it's that chair. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add an image here that you can upload, and you will also be able to click upload on the phone and get the camera, so you can just take a picture and get that uploaded. So let's see how we do that. First of all, we're going to stop this application, and I'm going to add, see if we can get some more space here. Up here, I want to add file upload button. And so there we go. It's a bit wide, so we can make it a bit smaller. And I want an image. So let's see if we have an image here. See web image. Just put it there and make that the appropriate size as well. So what we want to do now is, first of all, when I click the upload button, I want to be able to upload a file. And we actually got some default code here on file upload, but we need to modify it a little bit. But we should be able to just run this and more or less get an upload form, pick our ice cream, but it should be uploaded. So let's have a look at our folder. And right now it's set to be in demo, uploads, and here we have our ice cream. But sometimes we forget to create the uploads folder. So when we do an upload, we get this error message here. So we want to make sure that the folder is created if there is no folder. We want a boolean the file exists, and then we determine the path of the application. But before we just start moving things in here, we want to check if file exists. And then we take the S path that we just created, plus the uploads folder, like that. And the file exists. So if this file or path exists, then we got it here. So if not, the file exists, then we would like to make directory, and then we just copy this. So now we are sure that even though we do not have this upload directory in the system right now, we will get it. So let's see what that does. Upload file, pick our ice cream, and it's uploaded. Let's check this out. Now the folder is here and the file is here. But now we have a lot of different products, and it's hard to keep track of file names and products and stuff like that. So there are a million ways you can do this. But for this, I just want to create a folder with an ID. You could also say the file name has this ID number, but just for the example here, I want to create a folder because it might be that we at some point want to be able to upload multiple images. So then we would like to put them in a folder anyway. So I'm just going to prepare that. And it's good to be prepared for future wishes from the customers. So what we want to do is we want to try out and basically do the same thing again. But I want to know the ID of the file. Item ID. So I'm just going to do get field current value of item ID field item.id to item ID. So that is, again, how we get the data out of the data dictionary, because the data dictionary knows which one we are looking at. And now we can go down and basically check if that exists. And add that to the path. So here we had our first path, and now we want to check if the path plus, yeah, I want to keep that. And remember, again, we cannot put an integer item ID here because you will get into trouble. So we want to do a string typecasting of that and check if the file exists. And if it does not exist, we create that folder. Now, let's see, you should not have the file name here. And because then we run into trouble here, we shouldn't have that one either. So now we would want to move this to our path. Since we right now at least just want one file at a time, we can actually do erase file as path plus star. Oh, we should have the backslash. There you go. And this will just clean out the folder and remove all the files that's in there. And now we would like to move the is path plus the is file name, and the file name is the name of the file that we uploaded, so we will actually get the same name of the file. To is path. If we run this, click on ice cream, upload file, pick our ice cream, Check our folder. Now we got a folder called number 1, which is the ice cream. And in here we have the ice cream image. So what we want to do now, we want the picture to appear here. And in order to do that, we need a procedure called on upload finished. And in here, we would like to have the path string is path, because you might expect that this had a parameter with the path for the URL you uploaded, but it does not in this case. So we need to find a workaround where we can kind of store it from here and retrieve it back here. And you can actually do that by creating a web property. So let's do that. Web property equals server, and it's a string. It's a property string called PS file path. So now we can use this property string here. So after we move this, we can actually web set this PS of file path of the item model. So it's the view we're working on to S path. And then we'll get the S path here, and we can retrieve it here by just saying web get. Everyone's happy. Now we want to update the image that we got here. This is our image. And we could, yeah. Normally when you set an image, you would do web set ps URL of this image to the path. And in this case, it would be S path. But this does not work. We need to use a special function because this only works if the path is available in the web domain. And now we stored it in our data folder, so it's not really accessible from the web. So we need to create a special download URL that only works from within the application on the session you're on. So you cannot share that URL either. And that's a good thing for security reasons. So what we want to do is send update. Let's see, local image of web image 1 S path. But we're actually not allowed to do this because there's an additional security layer on the path. So before we do anything with the path, we actually also need to send register download folder, and we have not got the item, so we need to include the web resource manager. I'm going to do that by use web, say C web resource manager, and down here we're going to create an object item resource manager is a C web resource manager. And then we can use this one. Here, let's see, where did it go? Register folder of orgs. Oh, FO. Oh, oh, didn't call it FO, right? Yeah. S path. So here we have the path to the folder, and we are actually registering this as an allowed download folder. We can try it out and see if we don't use that, and I run the application. I run this, pick the image. You see, I'll get an error for unregistered download folder. And if we do this, and we allow this one, and run this again, we will actually be allowed to upload the image. No. Oh, okay. Invalid message. Ah, oh, that's why. Why didn't you say anything? That was an obvious typo. So let's see. Upload file, ice cream, and here we got our ice cream. Now, I only see a small corner of the ice cream, so we want to update that. And if I close here and open again, the ice cream is gone. So we actually want to do some more coding. And if you go down here, we have our initialization. So what we don't want to do down here is we want string as path and as file name. All right. And we want a Boolean be file exists. And since we have the item ID when we load this view, we can check if item ID is greater than 0. Begin. And so here we want to load the image. If we don't have an ID here, we don't want to load any images. So we do again the same thing as before. Get PS data path of POO workspace and GHO application to our S path. So, and we would like to check if the file exists, so we can basically go up here and copy this code again. See how much we need. So here is checking that the upload folder exists, and then we create the item ID, checking that that folder exists, and then we also need to send this register download folder because we're going to create a download URL here. And now we're still in the folder. So now we want to find the file name. And we can do that by direct input. Here is path. And then we get our folder and we get our files in that folder. And then let's do a repeat. Read line is file name. So we read the first item we get into the file name, and as long as this is file name is not equals to blank and is not equals to dots or dot dot, because we don't care about those, we just want the actual files in this folder. Then send update local image of a web image, and then is path is file name. Is that it? No. And we have our end, and we need to do until sequence end of file. So when we don't have any more files we can read in that folder, we just stop. And then we want to make sure to close the input the same as we opened. Is path. Now let's see what happens when we run this. If I now click on ice cream, I actually get the ice cream up here. So now there are only a few things we want to do. We want to make sure that the image here looks okay. And we can actually do one thing here. We stop, we take the image, and we enable, let's see, fill height. So then it will fill the heights that the image is using, which makes it a bit more flexible. And we also want to add a class to this. So set ps class this button class. What do we have? Go down here again. CSS class. Item image. So there we got the item image. And if we now run this, you can see we've got, it fills the height, but it's still out in the corner. So we inspect it. And okay, inspect image. Yeah, there it is. So we can see if it actually got the CSS styling I wanted. Oh, there it is. So what we want to do is any image item image. There you go. Okay. So we want to copy this style into our application CSS. And as you remember from the last video, we want to update the version number here as well to make sure that we always get the latest version of the CSS. So now if we run here, it works. We get the image here. Let's see what happens if we pick another image. Yeah, there you go. And this was a very small image, so that's why the width isn't filling, because we set max width. We could actually also go into the CSS and just say that the width should be 100%. Update the index to a 5. Reload the page and go in here. Yeah, now it fills regardless, so it looks a lot better. If we stop this one, but start the we started discovering Dataflex demo. If I reload now and click in here, you see you won't get it because the user does not have the rights to view the file. So let's see if we can work around that. Property, security, edit, and we want to add a user. And I think it's the iUser we want to add. Yes, and the iUser should have the rights to read this folder. Okay. And now if we go back in here and reload the page, you see we got the ice cream back again. So that's a really neat trick. And now all we have to do is go into our Git repository and commit this. So we created a file image and a file upload where we created a new path for each item we have. And then we added this procedure for uploading. And we also rendered the image on the loading of the page where we do the pop-up. And then we added some CSS styling and upgraded the version number on the application, the version CSS in our index. So we basically want to stage all of this. Let's see that we were on the right. Yeah, we're on the SQL. I'm going to show you something else later. Add image to the item pop-up. There you go. And for those of you who are working on does not want to use the SQL database, we can actually go in here and check out this, and then I can cherry pick this commit and add it to that thread as well. So now I can keep both the SQL version updated and the non-SQL version updated with the same Git updates. So they are equal unless I do something that is specific to SQL, then I only update the SQL version, and otherwise I'll update both of them. And now all I have to do is push, and I'll do that before this video is published. Hope you enjoyed that video, and don't forget to comment down below if you have any thoughts or questions to the video. Remember to subscribe to get updates every week when we post new videos, and have a nice week. Bye bye.